Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I decided to take a little mini break from social media because I was feeling uninspired and I wasn't sure how I wanted to keep up with my channel. I've been writing a lot, but I just haven't been in the mood to post recently. So, and I honestly don't know when this will go up. I just liked how the lighting looked right now, so I decided to put the camera on. And then I was just scrolling through Instagram and I was like, this isn't being very productive right now. But there are some things I want to update you guys on in terms of my writing. So I had finished my dystopian script, which I mentioned. I'm taking a break from that right now because I tend to take a little break in between writing the draft and then before I start my rewrite. So I'm just taking a break. I haven't read it all the way through yet and I haven't sent it out to anyone, but I am just taking a little mind break from that. But I have had ideas for other scripts in between that time. So I have a dramedy, half hour show that I ended up writing. And it was funny. I did not outline, I only had some ideas of the characters. And I also had kind of a general sense of the world that I wanted this to be in. And it's more like real life, which is crazy because like I've said many times before, I typically like fantasy, sci-fi, genre-based stuff for my scripts, but this is kind of like a real world shortly post pandemic era, kind of think of where the pit is right now in where they are, something along the lines of that. But it's set in San Francisco and it's kind of set in the restaurant business, kind of like The Bear. I pitch it as The Bear meets Normal People meets Scenes from a Marriage, which are all three shows that I absolutely love and adore. Scenes from a Marriage is very depressing. It's very sad, but it is a very good little mini series. And I picture this as a mini series as well. I don't see it going past a season. And I also don't know how many episodes. I initially put 8 episodes, but sometimes I feel like 8 episodes isn't enough. I recently watched Beef season 2, and I feel like it was very rushed towards the end. I was really enjoying what was going on and the mystery and the crazy people we were following, but I felt like the end felt very rushed to me. And I feel like if it was 10 episodes, it would have been just a little bit stronger. But I still had a fun time. But I never know how long a mini series should actually be. Because Normal People, I watched when it came out, which I think was actually around the pandemic, and that was 12 episodes. But again, they were half hour, but it was more of a drama versus a comedy. So mine is more like The Bear, where there are drama elements, but then there's in dialogue, little moments of comedy to kind of break up a lot of the tension. But it focuses on two people who are dealing with a lot of stuff in their lives right now, and they're very lonely and they kind of aren't really sure what they want to do with their life. But one of the guys works at a soup kitchen, is the chef. He cooks the food at the soup kitchen in San Francisco and wants to kind of start his own restaurant because his mom is undergoing cancer treatments and it's very expensive. So he wants to try to get a better livelihood because of that. And the girl, she just broke up with her ex who has a drug addiction problem, and he had a really bad spell, and she was kind of done taking care of him, even because she loves him, but he has been put in this situation many times before, and she's kind of she just doesn't feel like he's trying and all that stuff, and she feels like she's taking care of him more than being in a relationship. So she's kind of in a bad spot because she moved out of his place, and wants to do something of her own as well, and needs more money and stuff to get an apartment on her own. So she decides to tag along with this guy who is opening his own restaurant, and there's a bit of a love story. So that's kind of what I have so far. And I wrote the pilot, and it was initially like 40 pages, and I'm currently rewriting it right now. I can, like, half hours or so quick for me to write. And again, I did not outline, I did not do a whole bunch of stuff. But what I'm going to do for the rewrite is I'm going to kind of like tweak the dialogue a little bit, like just write the dialogue and then put the action lines in after I do the dialogue. I'm switching things up. I've never done this type of rewrite before. So, but I was like, I really want to get better at my dialogue because I feel like dialogue is kind of like my weakest. Like there's some moments where I'm like, oh, that's a really good line. And then there's some other moments where I'm like, oh, that's too like exposition-y. Like I don't love it. And it's so funny because I never think of myself as like a comedic writer, but there were some lines in there that I was like, oh, this is actually kind of funny. Like, I mean, I think it's funny, but that's the hardest thing about comedy is like you might think a joke is funny, but it might not land with like other people. And again, it's not like a comedy like The Office. It's definitely more like The Bear. And I feel like The Bear has leaned in more into its like drama elements recently, but season 1, like the pilot, there were actual like funny like lines in there. So it's gonna be more like that. But it will focus the relationship that they're starting, and I feel like the relationship will kind of mirror like what it's like to start a restaurant, especially like post pandemic when a lot of restaurants were being closed. I actually really love like learning about restaurants or watching stuff about restaurants. Like I'm a huge, like I love to cook and I'm a huge foodie. I don't really go out to a lot of restaurants cuz like I spend all my money on K-pop, but I love to cook and I think I'm a pretty good chef. If you want to check out my Instagram, I do post some of my recipes that I post, and I'm a pretty good cook, I would say so. But I just find the restaurant world like very interesting. And this was like even before The Bear started. I lived with a chef when I studied abroad, and I just found her world like so interesting, especially like as a female chef. So I've just always been, it's always been a weird like thing that I've been really interested in. So that's kind of where the whole like restaurant side of things came into play. So that is what I have for that. And I also have a film idea that I've been working on, and I'm not going to say much on that one, but it is a rom-com because I do want to have a rom-com in my portfolio, and it is kind of like a Hollywood love story, like, and it's kind of the main character is a screenwriter because that's what I am. And I don't have all like I have some knowledge in like production and all that stuff, but I haven't been on a lot of production sets, so I'm mostly a writer. So that's like what I have the most knowledge on. So like that's why I chose to do like to have the main character be a screenwriter. And then the other characters in the story are like actors, kind of like mostly young Hollywood actors, but people who have kind of grown up in the business and all that stuff. So that's all that I have on that one. I'm currently in like sequence 2. And again, I'm like trying to like really hone in on my dialogue and start off with just writing the dialogue. And then once I'm done with that sequence, I'll like go back in and put the action lines because I'm also trying to make my action lines a bit shorter because I tend to overwrite my action lines, but I also think that just comes with my prose writing. So yeah, those are the updates on the writing. I'm still working on my fantasy series, but I'm kind of not series, but my fantasy vampire book I mentioned before, but I'm not like my main focus isn't really on that. I'll write it whenever I feel like writing it. I'm kind of in another like pretty intense part of the book, which is kind of like the inciting incident. So it's kind of hard to write, but because it's very intense. But yeah, really intense scenes like take a lot out of me. So it like I take my time with them. That's what happened with the dystopian film that I wrote. Like the last section of that film was like really hard for me to write. So I took my time with it. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the update on that story. And then I might as well just update you guys on what I've been reading recently. So initially, I had picked up The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, but I didn't love the writing in that, which is crazy because I loved the fifth season by N.K. Jemisin, but I just didn't like the main character's voice in the fifth season. So I decided to pick up The Testaments because I was in like a dystopian mood after writing a dystopian script. About like halfway done, and I'm listening to the audiobook while reading, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's been a while since I've read The Handmaid's Tale, and since I've watched The Handmaid's Tale, I think I only made it to season 3 maybe, or like the beginning of season 4. I did not realize it was like still ongoing. Like it literally just ended. Was it last year or this year? Like did it just end? Had no idea. So I don't even know like what is going on in that story anymore. I kind of just stopped watching it because I like season 1 was so strong, and season 2 was good too, and season 3 was kind of like I don't know, like it was okay to me, but yeah, I just never continued on with it. But The Testaments is like the second book of the Handmaid's Tale series. She has so many books. I did not realize. I was looking at her like little, because you know how they always have like her book, like her other books that she's written. She has so many books. She has short fiction, she has poetry, she has a lot of novels, nonfiction, children's books. Like this is her works. Covers 2 pages. I did not know this about her, but I know she's Canadian. I'm pretty sure. They came out with the show The Testaments, which has Chase Infinity, who I pictured as my main character in my film. I was like, I might as well read the book and then I will see if I like The Testaments. And did not know that was going to be a show. It's really hard to keep up with like what is coming out when everything's on streaming because it just drops, and like I never see that stuff on my feed unless it's like on The Pit. That's all that I see on my feed right now is The Pit, which I did finish and I really, really liked the season. I hope Robbie adopts baby Jane Doe. And yeah, I can like have a whole other discussion about that. Yeah, so that's what I'm reading. I'm also reading Wuthering Heights, which I haven't picked up in a minute. I might pick that up tonight. I've been switching back and forth between those two. And I'm reading the book because I do want to see the movie just to see like what I think of it. I don't love classics. I'm not a classics girly, but this has been made into a lot of films. So I want to see what all the hubbub is about. I mean it's fun, but it's not like super interesting to me. I don't know. And when they do the Irish accents in the audiobook, I'm really like annoyed and jarred by them. So, but it's not super steamy. There's like elements of romance in it, but it's not like I'm just wondering like how like this was this director's idea for Wuthering Heights. Did she do that other movie with Jacob Elordi? Can't think. Saltburn. Did she do Saltburn? I would have to look that. No, I think that was a male director. I don't know, but they like to put Jacob Elordi in some weird, crazy. I mean, he's very attractive, but yeah. Anyways, so he's been in a lot of like interesting movies as well as like, and I don't know if because they're like typecasting him because of Nate in Euphoria, because he's a good actor, like he's a really good actor, but the only one that was like really different and I was like, oh okay, like was Frankenstein. I really liked his performance in that. But like he's been in some weird movie, like that other Sam Levinson film he was in with what's his face, Ben Affleck. I think it's like Deep Water or Dark Water or whatever it's called. That was horrible, 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 horrible movie. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys my mood board. This could literally just be a discussion video because I'm just not looking at the time. But let's see, show you my mood board for my Project Chef is what I'm titling it right now because I really like how it turned out. I liked the images that I picked, and again, I try to pick images from like my comps, and I did make a pitch deck or like a Bible for this because it's a TV show. But here she is. Take a gander. But yeah, I put some images from like the bear, from normal people, scenes from a marriage, and just like other like couples who I think would be good like couples or like portray the couple I have in mind in this series. But yeah, I really like it. And I like the color scheme I have with it too. And it's just, it has the vibes that I want for this show. Yeah, again, it was like a weird idea that I just randomly, I had like a dream of a scene with certain actors in it who are in this mood board. Jeremy Allen White is one of them. But I had a scene with him and like someone else, and that's kind of how I got the idea. But and I think it's pretty good and different. It's like a different thing that I can put out there as like an idea and show that I can like write real world stuff because that's what's been being put out is more real life stuff. But anyways, I'm going to make a dinner. Speaking of food, because I've got to put something in the oven for quite a while. So I'm going to do that. And yeah, this was just a little update, random update. And it might just be an update video, honestly, because it's already like 20 minutes long. So sorry about that. Oh, another update I can give you guys because this is also a music reaction channel. But I have been heavily getting into Santos Bravos, which is the Latin group under Hybe Latin America. And I've barely been getting into them. I've been watching a lot of their lives. And they speak like they majority of them will speak Spanish in those lives, and like I am part Spanish from like I have ancestry in Spain and I also have ancestry in Portuguese or Portugal, but I do not speak Spanish whatsoever. I learned Spanish in high school, lost all of it because I never learned it again. Like I didn't practice it enough to like make it stick, but I could like pinpoint some words like as they're talking like okay, I know what that means, I know what they're saying there, and I can kind of gauge about like what they're talking about based off some of the words that I can pick out. But I'm nowhere near fluent, even though a lot of people do come up to me and speak Spanish. That's like a small portion of, I'm biracial, but I have a lot of like I identify myself as half black and half white, but I have a lot of other like Italian, Irish, Scottish, like I have so many different backgrounds. So it's just funny to me that people think that I'm like fully like Latin. Um I've gotten Filipino, I've gotten Brazilian, I've gotten many things in my lifetime. Never black. Never once does anyone think that I'm black, but I am. I am. But anyways, at any rate, that's another discussion I can talk about. But I have been loving their album Dual, and I've been playing it like every day since I've heard it. And I think my favorite song is 0%. And I really like, I think that's how they say it. It's MHM, but in the song they go like, like it's so cute. They are adorable. All of them are so adorable. But I think I also have a bias, and I think it is Alejandro. Drew has also caught my eye as well, and Gabby is hilarious. Uh, he really reminds me of Maki a lot, just in his like persona. He's very funny. Kenneth is adorable, and then Kue, I really have to. He is so beautiful, and he's just very cutesy, very funny. Callaway, Callaway. I think he's Brazilian, but great. love. I'm excited to see them at KCON. And I'm hoping they do a collaboration with the Ant Team because they have had a lot of interactions together. But yeah, so I think Alejandro is Cuban, if I'm not mistaken. Are they on K-pop profiles? They're not. They're Latin band, but I. Oh, they are on. Okay, they are on K-pop profiles. So let's go there. Oh, Drew is short for Andrew. January baby, like me, but he's Aquarius. Is from West Covina. He's Mexican American household, trained in. Oh, he was taught at the lab here in LA. And then we have Alejandro. Oh no, he's Peruvian. Okay, Peruvian, not Cuban. I don't know why I thought he was Cuban. And it's so funny, their little like facts they have or whatever. And he was like, he began writing pop songs to impress a girl. He's from Lima, Peru. Lima, Peru. I cannot talk. Gabby, whose actual name is also Alejandro, but his middle name, or like one of his middle names, is Gabriel, so they call him Gabby. He's Puerto Rican. Cauê, yes, Brazilian, because he speaks Portuguese often. And then Kenneth is Mexican. Oh, he was born in Veracruz. See, this is how you know I'm not Spanish. I am, but I don't, you know what I mean. Veracruz, Mexico. Okay. I probably just butchered that. But anyways, he's the baby. He is 16, I think. But yeah, very cutesy, very excited to see them at KCON. I've just been jamming to their album like nonstop. It is so good. I was honestly wondering why it took Hive so long to make a Latin group because they input like Afro beats, Latin beats, like into all of their K-pop, most of their K-pop songs. Like TXT has had Afro Latino beats, and like BTS, Les Femme, like a ton of people, and like on some of them have been like blatantly copying. So, anywho's been enjoying this group. Very much looking forward to seeing them. And I think they are doing an artist stage, which I will be watching. So watch their music videos, but on my own. But at any rate, that's the last update that I have. And I might just do a separate video of like music I've been loving recently because there's been a lot of good comebacks in April that I have been enjoying. So I might do like an April music wrap up along with like book wrap up. And then maybe I'll also do like a TV. Like maybe I'll just do those. Cuz May is going to be a weird work month for me. But yeah, anyways, this was just a little chit chat video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, please do. But again, not forcing you. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.